I guess I can come out with a quick boxing video. Oh man. So Floyd Mayweather may supposedly be fighting Mikey Garcia. That sounds like a type of fight that Showtime and Al Hammond would do. I also heard rumors of Keith Thurman, Stanionis. I know Stanionis beats Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's been out of the ring, and Keith Thurman's not a dedicated fighter. Mikey Garcia is not a dedicated fighter. What's funny is Floyd Mayweather still, other than Stanionis, is a far more dedicated fighter than Keith Thurman and Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia years ago, and this was even before he fought, what's his name, Errol Spence, he admitted that he doesn't like to work out. You know, he doesn't like to do too much stuff. And I mean, some guys, they can get away with it. James Toney, he would just spar, you know, he didn't really work out. So I can't hate that bad, but Mickey, you know, especially watching that Son Martin fight, you can tell he's just not a dedicated guy, and his heart wasn't in boxing. Bob Aramey also exposed this as well. They try to make him fight certain guys, and after Mickey got hurt in a couple fights, you know, he's not one of those guys that like to get hit. But you could tell, again, he should have been fighting guys like Lomachenko, but, you know, this is another thing I hate about the PB system. You know, you basically fell up, you know what I'm saying? Mikey Garcia became a sacrificial lamb for Errol Spence, and, you know, then he had to go other places, like DAZN or whatnot, because he was still trying to cash out in these fights. And here we are again. This guy gets rewarded with a pay-per-view with Floyd Mayweather. Now, again, I think this stuff may be rumor. I don't know if it's true. This is why I don't really like to talk boxing too much anymore. Because, one, these are the type of fights that we talk about. And then, you know, it takes forever for these rumors to be, like, verified or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It's always talk in the sport of boxing. I got Floyd Mayweather winning that fight if it does go down. Who knows? Floyd, I guess. You know, it's an exhibition. I've seen a lot of nonsense with PBC. I've seen Malik Scott take a dive versus Wilder. Mickey, he's the type of guy who definitely, you know, will sit there and just try to be, you know, be in a silent agreement with Floyd. Yeah, I don't even think it's going to be a real fight, guys, to be honest with you. And if I do even care to watch that fight, I'll definitely be streaming it. But, you know, that's one of those fights where I'm like, I'm probably not even going to stream it. If I'm doing something else, you know, that something else will definitely take priority. As far as Stanionis and Keith Thurman, again, Keith Thurman, we've always said this, it's kind of like Caleb Plant. He's a front runner, but Keith Thurman's even more weird than that. He's a 6-round fighter, period. He could either lose the first 6 rounds like he did versus Manny Pacquiao. People will maybe argue with me on that point. I think Manny Pacquiao did have the best case for the first 6 rounds. You could have possibly given round 6 to Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman himself, out of his own mouth, said, you know, he asked his trainer what round it is, and they told him round 7. You can clearly see when you watch the film that that's when he really turns up in round 7. And they were giving him a lot of credit just for output and things like that, not so much the impactfulness of the punches or whatever. In fact, I had my scorecard. I gave the first 6 rounds of Manny. I gave Manny Pacquiao also round 10, and he deserved round 12 over Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, Keith, this is a guy, another guy that really just fights, goes in there for a paycheck. And what's weird about Keith Thurman is he needs attention. He's one of those types of people. So other than like the money and everything else, his true priority is just to get attention and hear himself talk. And I know Stanionis is just going to go in there and just, you know, we've mentioned this about Terrence Crawford before too. You know, he's just one of those guys that has his work boots and his work pill, and he just goes in there and goes to work. You know, I respect guys like that. I respect fighters like that. And Keith Thurman, he's not a worker. Even when he was training for Manny Pacquiao, he started off as a favorite, but plenty of people shifted to Manny Pacquiao. And even guys like Freddie Roach heard word that he wasn't training hard. And you could even see in the promo, he would maybe shadow box for like 30 seconds and he'd stop and start talking again in front of the camera. And that's just what he likes to do. He loves to talk. You know what I'm saying? He's talked more than he's fought in the past 7 years, guys. I don't know what Keith Thurman wants to do. Maybe he needs another paycheck. Again, when you're talking about guys like Mikey Garcia and Keith Thurman, you know, you're talking about a guy who really their only focus is on things that aren't really boxing. You know, Keith Thurman thinks he's going to go in there, act like he's countering Stanionis with the left hook, and then he's going to start going on his bicycle. I mean, I don't see these guys fight all the time, and I know their tendencies and patterns. Like, if you just watch film and you see what they do, I don't think Keith Thurman has what it takes to get the job done against a young, hungry fighter like Stanionis. Hence, why he always either wanted a quick route like a Amir Khan to the big money fight, you know, or he wanted, you know, an easy fight, a get-back fight. And this is kind of out of character for Keith Thurman. If he's considering an opponent like Stanionis a get-back fight. We've seen who he's been fighting, you know what I'm saying, in these supposed get-back fights. And he must be either very desperate for attention and a paycheck, or maybe he truly is trying to try to prove that he's a real fighter and he's actually backing up his words. But I doubt that, man. I really do. I really do. I just find a lot of these dudes laughable today. It's like watching a television show, which PBC promotes itself as. And you have characters. Keith Thurman is a distinct character. He's a hippie. He plays a flute. We know he smokes weed. You know what I'm saying? He gets injured. I mean, I watch him. He don't work that hard. You know, you look at his body, too. He doesn't look like a guy who likes to work hard. You know, I don't know what to tell you guys. The Sean Porter fight, I thought, could have gone to Sean Porter. Keith Thurman, they were giving him more credit during the fight, but I think that's another iffy fight that could have gone either way. Keith Thurman only landed one more punch than Sean Porter, you know what I'm saying? He would land some left hook counters, and then the announcers or the narrators would tell you, like, oh my God, Keith Thurman just showing this skill, and I didn't see no skill. Sean Porter, you know, at that point in Sean Porter's career, that was the most amount of punches he landed on an opponent before. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Keith Thurman's, you know, bicycle and trying to left hook counter all night was really all that great. He did land some nice ones on him, but again, it's a fight. It could have been a draw, and they should have ran it back. You know what I'm saying? Same as Sean Porter and Errol Spence, but we don't need to go down that rabbit hole again. Again, we've said this before, these guys never really show separation, and I just know that Stanionis is going to outwork Keith. They know that Keith's weakness is to his body, especially this dude eating pizza and ice cream before fights, such as Manny Pacquiao. Adrian Broner was even checking Keith Thurman, like, hey, what are you doing out here? When he was gambling before the fight. And he's wearing, like, the same orange shirt that he was wearing in the post-fight interview with his face all beat up. I mean, it did, you know, I don't think that one was too hard to call there, guys. I really don't. A lot of these guys, they wanted to be fast-tracked, you know, when you go to Disneyland. And I don't know, because I haven't been to Disneyland in probably 20 years, to be quite honest with you. I think 2002, 2003 was the last time I went to Disneyland. But they had this thing called Fast Pass. And if you have the Fast Pass, you get to, you know, cut everybody and just go to the ride, you know what I'm saying? And that's how these PBC fighters are. They just always wanted Fast Pass, and they didn't want to earn it. They didn't want to put in the work to earn it. They wanted to talk, but they never could back it up, man. This is why guys like Terrence Crawford showed you that there's levels between him and Sean Porter. There's levels between him and Errol Spence. But when these guys fight each other, minus Danny Garcia and Errol Spence, you know, Mr. I have mental illness, and I'm going to promote that, and let's talk about business and investment as well instead of focusing on Errol Spence fight. You know, what was funny, when Danny did throw punches, he was landing on Errol Spence. He did hurt him twice in that fight. But regardless of whatever, those guys, I always called them crabs in a bucket, because there's no separation between the crabs that are in the bucket. It's not more so how people generally think it is. But, you know, just because you're king crab at the moment, like, even buffoonery can cause you to trip, fall, and now you're back at the bottom of the bucket. And that was the separation I saw between guys like Errol Spence and Sean Porter, and Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. You know, we've talked about this so long, but again, if this is going down, and also they're trying to go on the same date as Devin Haney and Regis Prograis. Either way, man, listen, I'm gonna stream I'm not buying any of these fights. I'm sorry. I especially when you have Regis Prograis telling you he didn't even want the Devin Haney fight, and you can tell by his attitude and everything else. A lot of these fighters, man, it's just they want it their way. Plus, they want to get paid. They're pretty much divas before they even done nothing. Regis Prograis is a 35-year-old who hasn't even done what a Devin Haney's done. That's all you need to know. You know what I'm saying? He's maybe a two-time champ. I don't even know if he's a two-time champ. He's done bare minimum. Adrian Broner has done more than Regis Prograis. You know what I'm saying? And Regis Prograis, I never did like that guy. I just never did for some reason. But I don't know. We'll see. Again, this is why it's so hard to talk about boxing today. Because you're either doing TMZ drama, you're talking crap about a fighter, or, you're talking about rumors, you're gossiping like a female. And I'm kind of tired of that aspect of boxing is people still ain't fighting, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to comment on this one, though. I know the Floyd fight, if it's exhibition, it's a fake fight, period. Maybe Mickey might try to get angry during the fight and try to maybe knock out Floyd at some point and whatever else. And then, again, we'll just see how it goes. But I'm not putting too much stock in that fight. Keith Thurman, Stanionis. I know Stanionis is going to beat him, and Keith's going to be like, two-time, whatever this dude's going to, he's an animated character, whatever's going to come out of his mouth. I could care less. I really don't. But I do want to see Stanionis get some shine and actually have a boxing career instead of being sidelined. I don't like seeing when that happens to fighters. I never liked it when I saw it with Rigondeaux and so many others, man. Joan Guzman. There were so many great fighters that should have had far more opportunities than they did, you know what I'm saying? And people, just because it's, they want to pick low-hanging fruit and be opportunists and politicians, like a lot of these guys, they don't get opportunities, man. And there are so many good matchups, even today, that you could make with guys that maybe they don't have big names, but you could fill out a card with these type of guys. Like, maybe PBC can get Me Machine and have him fight, I don't know, Danny Garcia or someone too. But there's plenty of fights out there that you can make that are going to be entertaining and good, and you can still be cost effective and cheap. I'm sure Igor Kavalauskas, you give him like 200 grand, he'll go out there, he'll fight. You give him 100 grand, he'll go out there and fight. There's a lot of fighters out there that want to just prove themselves. In boxing, again, it's like, I don't understand the game plan that they're doing. But it is good to see that Stanionis is finally, getting past, getting some kind of, favor in there. And I, of course, would like to see other young fighters stay busy and things like that as well. We will talk to you guys later, and that's pretty much it.